Well, hello, y'all, and welcome to the DaveCast. It is September. Can you believe that? What a crazy year this has been. I mean, in some ways, it seems like it's been 10 years, right? That it's been forever. But in another sense, it's hard to believe that summer is basically over and it's September. And so it's here, and so I guess we just keep moving on. In the Exodus series, we are at the juncture that is referred to as the golden calf story. Now, it takes place in Exodus chapter 32, and last Thursday, we went through it in regards to some problematic things that at least I have, but really I think a lot of people have with some of the implications of this passage and others like it in the Old Testament. And I think a lot of you are probably right there with me, because it's this picture of an Old Testament God that is prone to violence and vengeance and, quite frankly, temper tantrums. And in this case, you see Moses kind of talking God down off the ledge of destroying all the Israelites over his anger regarding the golden calf scene. And so we dealt with all of that last Thursday. Today we're going to go and approach this same section, but from the approach of this passage, which deals with the sin of the Israelites and, in some ways, the poor leadership of Aaron. You know, it's ironic that if you read back, God is talking to Moses up on the mountain about preparing Aaron's priestly garments and all the ceremonies that Aaron will do as the priest. And at this exact same time, Aaron is getting the Israelites to bring them all his gold, all their golden earrings and stuff to make the golden calf. And so if you want to look back at that stuff, it starts in about chapter 29 and goes on for a couple of chapters. But today, let's look back at this scene we looked at on Thursday. But before we do that, let me set this up a little bit, if I could. So whenever my family gets together, my extended family with my brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and everybody, we like to tell stories about family adventures and memories from way back. And I'm not sure if this ever happens to you all, but I'd like to think we're not the only ones that do this. But sometimes as these stories get told, they get a little embellished or details, at least in the way that I remember them, get changed around. My mother, God rest her soul, when she was alive, she was the worst at this. I mean, she was an amazing storyteller. But sometimes stories that happened to my brother Gordon got told about me or things like that. And I'm sure I do the same thing because sometimes, the same people have a way of remembering things differently. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, I'll be telling a story to somebody about something that we did way back when, and I'll look over at Teresa, and she'll be looking at me like, "What are you talking about? That never happened." Isn't it funny how we can do that? I call it disremembering. As human beings, we have a tendency to forget things or to distort things in our memory, and we run into that in this passage from Exodus. Although I think what the Israelites did was a lot more egregious than forgetting which of our children did what on their 5th birthday or something like that. And so just a quick review to set the context of chapter 32 for those who might be joining us and aren't exactly sure where we are in the Exodus story. The children of Israel were in bondage to Pharaoh as slaves in Egypt, and they cry out to God. God hears their cries and sends Moses to deliver them. And there's a series of 10 plagues, after which God leads them out of Egypt, parts the sea for them to escape, and then God led the people by using a pillar of clouds by day and a pillar of fire by night. And he leads them to the wilderness, to the base of a mountain that's sometimes called Mount Horeb and sometimes called Mount Sinai. And so God shows up at the top of the mountain in a wild cloud full of lightning and thunder and blasting trumpets. Boom. And God speaks to Moses in the presence of the people. And don't miss that, in the presence of the people. And listen to what he says, because this is really important. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now, therefore, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, you will be my treasured possession out of all the peoples. Indeed, the whole earth is mine. but you shall be for me a priestly kingdom and a holy nation. And so God reminds the people about the big picture, the story of God's redemptive plans. And he reminds them of the promise to Abraham, blessed to be a blessing. And so then we jump to chapter 20, and God is about to speak the 10 commandments to all the people. And so notice how he begins in Exodus 22. He says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. And we need to remember this because this is the key to this whole thing that is going to get disremembered throughout the story, really. So how does God identify God's self to them? He says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of slavery. I am the Lord your God. Who brought you the people out of slavery? God. Yahweh. Who is God? Whose God is Yahweh? The people's. And so let's keep on going. And so Moses and God continue to have a conversation. And to the end, God writes it all down in a book. And this is called the Book of the Covenant and includes the 10 Commandments and all the civil laws. And so in Exodus 24:7, we read, Then he took the Book of the Covenant and read in the hearing of the people. And they said, All that the Lord has spoken, we will do, and we will be obedient. And so Exodus 24:15 and 18 then says, Then Moses went up on the mountain, and the clouds covered the mountain. The glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. And on the seventh day, he called to Moses out of the cloud. Now the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a devouring fire on top of the mountain in the sight of the people of Israel. And Moses entered the cloud and went up on the mountain. And Moses was on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. And so the conversation that takes place between God and Moses is then recorded in chapters 25 to 31. And that's where God tells Moses how to build the tabernacle and all that stuff. We went over that a few weeks ago. And while the conversation is happening up on the scary, fiery mountain, there is something brewing at the base of the mountain. And that's where we come to our story for today. And so in Exodus 32, 1 through 14, we have this serious case of disremembering or distorting the image of God. And so let's see what the people say. In verse 1, it says, When the people saw that Moses delayed to come down from the mountain, the people gathered around Aaron and said to him, Come, make gods for us who shall go before us. As this Moses, the man who brought us out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of them. All right, so did you catch what they said? Who did they say brought them out of Egypt? Moses. And so here we have the disremembering that I explained earlier. And here we see the first way that we as humans tend to disremember God. We put our focus on the human leader. It happens all the time. And don't hear me wrong. It's not bad or wrong to be attracted to a leader. I mean, God calls people to be leaders. He called Moses. God needs leaders. But the danger is when we start giving credit to the leader. And so let's read on. The people are afraid of what is going to happen now that Moses is gone. Obviously, he's dead, right? He's been gone a long time, 40 days and 40 nights. I mean, who could go into that fiery cloud and survive? So they think Moses is dead. And they need a new Moses. And so Aaron takes their gold earrings and forms it into the shape of a calf or a bull. And look what it says in verse 4. These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. Who brought them out of Egypt? A golden calf? I mean, does this seem really strange to you? What's going on here? I mean, I don't think the people were dumb enough to think that Yahweh didn't exist and that a golden calf led them out of Egypt. And so see what Aaron says. He says in verse 5, tomorrow shall be a festival to the Lord, to Yahweh. And that Hebrew Yahweh for God, Yahweh is unmistakable. I mean, he is talking about Yahweh, the Lord our God. You see, the people didn't replace God. What they did was reduce God to a form they could understand. You see, it was a common belief in that day that gods would ride on the back of a bull to be moved around. If Yahweh is going to lead them, then he needs a bull, right? You know, ever wonder why a golden calf? Well, that's the reason. And that leads us to the second common way that we disremember God. We reduce God to a God box that makes sense to us and forget what God said about God's self. And so we needed to ask ourselves the question, what is our God boxes? Because they come in many shapes and sizes. And sometimes we reduce God to a theology, to a set of doctrines. We say, this is how God operates. And if I see anything outside of that box, then I can't accept it. This does not correspond to my theological perspective. Therefore, I must dispose of it. Sometimes we reduce God to a religion. We think that if we go through certain motions and rituals, then God will look favorably on us and there for us in a pinch, kind of like I scratch your back, you scratch my back kind of deal. But I think honestly, here where we live in this era, there is a God box, a different kind of shiny gold box that we sometimes like to worship. The God question is, who delivered us out of slavery? And let's be honest, there are a lot of people in our spheres who will say, well, I did. I worked all my life, I saved my money, and it is my security that is my deliverer. Or maybe it is success that has saved us, or at least we strive for success in the hope that that will save us. And then there are those of us who think that there is no real salvation. So what delivers me is my escape, my drug of choice, whatever it is, whether it's sex or substance or sports or shopping or material possessions. As long as it eases the pain, I feel safe. And listen, it's not that we don't acknowledge that there's a God way up there on the top of the mountain, but this shiny gold God box makes much more sense to me right here. And that's what I believe was happening on the ground at the base of the mountain. And so then last Thursday, we already talked about what's happening on top of the mountain with God and Moses. And so then this Thursday, in 2 days, we will bring them together and see what happens. And so I can't wait to talk about that on Thursday. So between then and now, you guys be safe and keep bringing the hope, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.